Good morning and welcome everyone to another webinar with Seat Academy. So for this week's webinar, we are talking about mental health issues, stress, anxiety, peer pressure, anything that a student may be experiencing at this time just before exams hit. We all know this can be the most stressful time for our learners. It's end of the year, and we want to push our kids and our students to do the best that they can. But sometimes pushing them to do the best that they can is not the best way to do it. So in today's discussion, we have a couple guest speakers. We have Dominique with us, who is a lay counselor who works with teens and young adults. She's also busy completing her honors at the moment in psych. If you could just go ahead and say good morning, Dominique.
Morning, everybody.
Thank you so much. Then we have our wonderful Paige over there at the bottom, who is not only a tutor with us, but is also busy currently finishing her degree with a major in psych. Go ahead and say hello, Paige.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you. Then we have Abigail with us, who is a mother, but also a staff member with Seat Academy, working on our back end of marketing. And man, she's phenomenal at what she does for all of us in promoting Seat Academy. But not just about Seat Academy, she also happens to be a parent, as I mentioned. So she knows exactly what her child is going through at the time of exams. Abigail, go ahead and say hello.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you. And then we have a student also joining us on the panel today. Her name is Jade Fenter. At the moment, she's currently struggling with connectivity to our webinar, but when she is available, she also has a couple points that she would like to bring across if she's able to join us. If not, we will just do a side video and upload it to our Facebook page with some of the situations that our students are going through at this time. All right, I see we will do a side video. No problem. We will do a side video with Jade and upload it to our Facebook page. If students and parents can go ahead and have a look at that video after our webinar. Thank you, Jade. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit us off with a couple of the topics that can be brought up during this time of, as I said, we are in the month of mental health awareness because there are a lot of situations our students and people go through. It's end of the year. We're exhausted. Everyone's given 110%, whether you're a grown-up, whether you're a parent, whether you are a child doing their studies. Everyone is given more than 110%, and we're getting ready to finish off the year. And we're just at the point now where everyone is feeling not only mentally exhausted, but physically tired and emotionally tired because we've just given our all and our best. And we just want the year to end now. Be done, we're finished. So with that comes a lot of other side things that come with it. Perhaps we feel overwhelmed with the amount of things we still have to do. And I find that this is a big problem for me. I don't know if other people experience it. To-do lists. I absolutely hate to-do lists. It's necessary. It's important so that we don't get overwhelmed and lose train of thought of what we need to do. But if I create a to-do list, I'm overwhelmed by the to-do list. It makes me hit anxiety levels. So I'm actually going to hand over to Dominique to talk a little bit about some of the things that occur and pop up with students or people or parents. Dominique, go ahead and share a bit.
Hi. Okay, so like Claire said, I'm a lay counselor. So what that means is that I'm not a registered counselor with the HPCSA, and because I'm completing my studies, I can counsel, but it's not a registered counselor. That's essentially all that it is. It's just a counselor that isn't registered. So just for some places that you can go if you do need counseling. Obviously, the first thing is go to a psychologist. But as we all know, there's still a lot of stigma and stuff around mental health. So a lot of medical aids don't cover psychologists, and that is something that the psychology community is working on. We're trying to get the stigma erased so that medical aids will pay for a psychologist the same way that they'll cover a GP. But in the meantime, there are a lot of non-profit organizations and non-governmental organizations that do counseling for free or at a very low cost. So where I work as a lay counselor is Hope House Counseling Center. And they have three. They have 3 centers. There's one in Bergvliet, there's one in Kuilsriver, and there's one in Tableview, which is where I am, in Tableview. And you can look it up. It's called Hope House Counseling Center. You can phone them and you can make sessions with them, and they work on a donation basis. So there's no pressure at all to pay sessions every time, and you can go even if you can't afford it. And whenever you can, however you can donate to them, just so that they can keep the operations running. Another place is called the Counseling Hub. They offer sessions for 50 Rand per session. And I think they will also take donations. And then Lifeline I think that's the most popular one. They have the hotline. It's 24-hour hotline. You can find it on their website. All of these places, they have websites. So you can look it up and you can get all the information you need and contact details to book sessions if you'd like. And Lifeline is all over South Africa. So I'm sure there would be one close to you if you need it. And then just to comment on the to-do list thing, something that I tell my clients a lot when they tell me that they get overwhelmed with to-do lists is to just try and keep, so you know how you have your whole month planned out, try and not look at that, like sort of keep it as low as you can with looking at that. So what I mean by that is that, let's say on a Sunday night, you look at your full month to-do list and then you only write down what you need for the week on Sunday. So you look at it once. And then that week list, so do that separately so that all you look at for the week is that list. And then every morning when you wake up, from that list only, you write down what you need to do just for that day. And then that's all you focus on. So it will just keep your mind off of the feeling that there's this big mountain in front of you of things that you need to do, because that can lead to a lot of feelings of being overwhelmed. And then sometimes when you stress, you shut down. You go into like fight or flight mode, essentially, and you shut down and you end up doing nothing. And that happens to me a lot. So that's just a little tip that I have. Any questions? Can I keep talking? I don't want to spend too much time on me.
Go for it, Dominique. Please share
Okay.
some more advice. I love the idea of a weekly planner. That's a fabulous idea and a good way to tackle things that we feel overwhelm us
Yeah.
in a day-to-day basis.
Mm.
Go ahead and share some more with us, and then
Okay.
I will hand over to one of our other ladies on the panel to share a bit there too.
Okay. So yeah, that is something that because I do work a lot with high schoolers. So a lot of complaints that I get is anxiety about all the assignments that are due, because the teachers, they tend to pile it up sometimes, or while the curriculum piles it up, and then it gets too much. So another thing so if you feel a lot of stress or anxiety, one way to just sort of, I guess you could call it, snap yourself out of it, is it's like a grounding technique. So when you are anxious, your mind is just shooting all over the place with stress, and this needs to be done and that needs to be done, and what if this happens and what if that happens. So just to pull yourself out of your mind, you can do some deep breathing exercises. So this one, it's just a quick one that you can do in a pinch. So if let's say you looked at your list and there's so much to do and you're just panicking, and like you get your shallow breathing and you don't know what to do and how to start and everything. just take one deep breath first, and then close your eyes. And so the reason you close your eyes is to shut off all other senses, sort of, that can become overwhelming. You just close your eyes, and in your mind, you just picture a little triangle like this, and then you start at the bottom left. Oh, I'm flipped around. The bottom left, and then so you inhale as you heading upwards, and then you hold your breath as you head down the triangle, and then you exhale at the bottom. So now each step you split it into 3 counts. So essentially you're starting at the bottom, you take a nice deep inhale and you go 1, 2, 3. And then when you reach the top, you hold your breath 1, 2, 3, and then you exhale 1, 2, 3. And then that should get your mind off of things, because all your focus goes to that. And then you just repeat that same cycle as many times as you need to until you feel okay again. And then you try again with whatever task it is that you want to do.
Wow, that's incredible. And I think even for myself, I'm going to use that
Yeah.
triangle technique. I think that's something that we can definitely use
Yes.
in going forward, and just dealing with kids that are feeling overwhelmed and stressed, even in the classroom environment, not
Yeah.
even exams.
I use
So
that a
that's
lot.
wonderful.
I use that a
Yeah,
lot.
definitely
It's
can be
also
used.
it's an easy thing to do, and it's an easy thing to help someone. So if your child or a friend or anyone, if you can see they're overwhelmed, you teach them that first of all, and then once they know what it is, you can just call it triangle breathing or your triangle or something. And if you see they're overwhelmed, you just say, remember your triangle, or do some triangle breathing, and then immediately it will just snap them out of that, and then they're like, okay, triangle, close your eyes, start breathing.
Wow. No, that's fabulous. Thank you for that. After our webinar today, we will post a list of some places that Dominique has, as she was mentioning in her piece now, for support and for places that one can go if they're struggling with more than just anxiety. Perhaps you're struggling with suicidal thoughts because of the stress, because stress can lead to a lot of different mental emotions and feelings. And I think, Dominique, if you could just share a couple of places that one could go to for help to reach out, that would be wonderful if we could provide our parents and learners with that support list.
Yes.
I just want to ask quickly for parent support and student support. Where can they go to? Who can they speak to in not just diagnosing through a psychologist? Who can they reach out to for help in these stressful situations?
So the list that I gave, so that's Hope House Counseling Center, the Counseling Hub, and Lifeline. They offer counseling for all sorts of things, and the counselors will be, if it's something as bad as trauma counseling or an abusive household or something, they will have a specialized counselor for that. And then with everything else, like depression, anxiety, maybe grief, just stress in general, emotional issues, the lay counselors will be able to do that. I work with a lot of different types of things at Hope House. And like I said, it's free at Hope House, it's free at Lifeline, and it's 50 Rand a session at the Counseling Hub. And they take all ages as well. So if you want to take your child to counseling, you can get yourself a session as well so that you can learn how to support your child and also get yourself support so that you are in the best state of mind you can be to support your child. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. So as I mentioned earlier, we will include that after our webinar session. Dominique will give us a list of the places one can reach out to. Thank you so much, Dominique. I'll probably direct some more questions your way soon. For now, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Paige, because as a tutor, she gets the one-on-one experience with the learners in the classroom. So Paige, if you can give us some ideas of of stressful situations that could occur in the classroom, and how best we could address those situations.
Sure. Sorry, I'm a little bit unwell, so just excuse me. I deal a lot with students who have anxiety. There's quite a few of my students who also deal with depression. And so those sort of things can filter into their work ethic. And if they are too anxious or they have social anxiety or things like that, they tend to clam up and then not want to go to a class because they feel they have to put on this performance level to communicate and participate, and they just don't feel well in that moment. And so for me, in those situations, I've got an open door policy with my students to say, listen, if you are feeling this kind of way, message me. We can chat about it. I can send you extra notes. Or if you feel like if I feel that there's really important information in this particular lesson, I can say, listen, come to class, don't switch on your mic, don't switch on your camera, don't type in the chat box, just listen. And I'm not gonna, if I ask for participation, I'm not gonna call on you. It's just for you to get as much information as you need in that time frame without having to come out of your comfort zone. And I think coming into the space of needing parent support, if I look at my own experiences growing up, my mom was amazing in the sector. She Googled everything she could about anxiety, about depression, about suicidal thoughts, about everything she could to come to me and be like, okay, so what can we do together? I was lucky enough to have medical aid, go to a GP. The GP can refer you to anything. They've got hotlines on deck. They've got counselors on deck. So if you're not in the areas that Dominique suggested, go to your regular GP. You can even phone them. You don't have to create a session or an appointment with them. You just give them a call and say, listen, can you recommend anything for my child? Let's say what you can and cannot afford, and they can direct you from there. If it is quite of a bigger issue or a lot more drastic, there are availabilities of psychiatrists. Psychiatrists are generally covered by medical aid if you have medical aid to go to. If you are on chronic medication, your psychologist visits are also paid for. So those are avenues you can take through that. So just know that if your child is on anti-anxiety medication, antidepressants, antipsychotics, anything like that, psychiatrists and your psychologist, depending on your plan, you can call your medical aid plan and see what they will and will not cover, depending on how many sessions. But they generally, if you're on chronic medication, do cover. It just depends on which lecture you're on. Student support, the hotline is great. If you are in a band and you don't know how to go to your parents, you don't know how to talk to your friends about it, or you've spoken to your friends and they don't understand, especially at such a young age, your support system is very, very important. And so that comes into choosing your friends wisely, choosing who you confide in wisely. And I think that's the kind of support that a teacher also provides. When you have that relationship with your teacher to be open and honest and say, ma'am, I don't know how to go to my parents. My friends don't really know what's going on. Who can I turn to? And you can say, turn to me. You can say, let's talk about this. Let's choose the best avenue that we can go to discuss what's going on and discuss what's going further. Because there's different levels of being anxious. There's different levels of being depressed. There's different levels of being, well, suicidal, but there's different levels of needing help. And what help do you need? Because sometimes the first option isn't just to jump in and go to a psychiatrist or to do things like that. It's techniques, like Dominique was saying, grounding. If you are having a panic attack or an anxiety flare up, the best thing you can do is grounding. And there are so many techniques. My favorite one that I've used with other people, with friends, with family, is to sit down, open your mind, and think, I'm only going to think of one thing. And I love the colors grounding. So you pick one color, you sit around you and you say, point 5 things out that are black. And your mind starts to only focus on that one thing. And so subconsciously, you're already calming down. You're thinking, okay, the chair, the cupboard, what else can I see? And suddenly your breathing starts to work by itself, and it's automatic, just like it is on a daily basis. It's automatic. You don't realize that you're breathing. And the moment you start focusing on your breath is the moment that you're like, okay, how do I match it up again? How do I calm down? So you've got to focus on something else that'll get you through. And I think those techniques are things that teachers should be aware of to help their students, because some students, they don't know where to turn, they don't know who to talk to, there's so much information on Google, they don't know what they're doing. And so it's important for teachers to have this background and be like, okay, let's just learn the basics just to help that child get through what they're going through in that moment. And I think that's so important.
Absolutely. Thank you, Paige. And I think that's why they make it a mandatory, not really a mandatory, one can choose the subject when studying to become a teacher, that they offer psychology so that we're able to help our students. I think that's one of the greatest aspects of when you're studying for your degree for education, is that they provide that for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this because there's so many different ways one can work out things. And I love what Paige was saying. Paige is saying how students can reach out to the tutors. Not every tutor or teacher is prepared to handle the situation or provide that safety net. It is just one of those things, unfortunately. So you have to know your situation well enough to know who you can reach out to. And as well as parents, and this is not directed at parents who some people don't believe in mental health issues, and that's okay. That is your opinion. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but sometimes people do need help, even if it's just someone to what I call venting, where you're so overwhelmed with information and stuff, you just need someone to talk to. And as soon as you've talked to someone and released it, you're fine, because you've had that person you can confide in. And I think as parents, we need to be that person sometimes for our children, and be able to be that stability for them. Maybe they don't have a huge issue or crisis like we're talking about, but anxiety is anxiety, and one can reach it in so many different levels. I have more questions I'd like to ask you, Paige, but I think at this moment, I'd like Abigail's opinion, who is a parent with us and knows firsthand what it feels like as a parent of a child in SEET Academy or just in the education system, how her son handles situations. Abigail, if we could go ahead and hand over to you.
Hi, thank you. And thank you, ladies, for what you said. I definitely think that I myself are going to use some of those techniques, and I'm going to pass it on to my son. And I really believe, Claire, that, I mean, I'm sure you agree, we need to pass it on to our tutors, to our kids in SEET Academy. It is so needed. I'm going to talk on behalf of SEET Academy and the reason why it slots in with mental health, with my son specifically. When he was at school, he started with SEET Academy in July last year. And the reason why I put him in, you all know it was COVID and things were crazy. But other than that, my son also had separation anxiety. And I do think that's due to, everyone goes through so many things in life. I went through a divorce and my son went through it with me. And I could definitely see that when I have my downs, he had his downs as well. And it was difficult for me to support and help him. So he struggled with going to school and physically leaving my side. And that is where I identified online homeschooling as an option, but there weren't as many schools available at that point. And then SEET Academy popped up on Facebook. So I thought, let's try it. Let's see what happens. It was quite up and down that time, but with so many structures, so many good tutors, with Claire, yourself, and Kirsten at the head of things are just amazing. And I would, for anyone who has a child that suffers from anxiety, believe me, they are not separated from the world when they are homeschooled or online schooled. They meet so many other kids. They make friendships. The tutors are so kind and helpful. They talk on the live lessons. It's like normal interaction, just virtually. And the friendliness, the support that Seat Academy tutors have is phenomenal, because in classes, remember, they usually have, I think, 45 minutes of class. Our kids' time, the time that they can focus is not that long. That was something that my son struggled with. He focuses on this and then on that, and it doesn't mean that your child has ADHD, but in some regard it's almost like they do, you know. I think in today's generation they all do. Their focus doesn't last long enough. So at Seat Academy there's 30-minute lessons, and it's so interactive and personalized, and everyone gets a chance to talk. And what happened with my son, specifically with his mental health, he's so happy to be at home and feel safe, especially with everything that was talked about around COVID, but then also with bullying. There's no bullying at Seat Academy. That was another major thing. So as you can hear, I had a lot of issues with my son at normal school, and all of that is just gone. It's totally gone, except the laziness sometimes. But at Seat also, I shouldn't probably say this out loud, but they contact you and they talk to you about your kid. For instance, he didn't do his assessment, you know, the things that they don't have to do, but they do, and we talk about it and we sort it out. Yeah, so that's my take on mental health and Seat Academy and where the link comes in. And we're also planning to have counselors on board from next year, so that those extra things like you were talking about, suicidal and anything else, can be discussed, and kids can just feel like talking to someone. I also had Mikhail at a psychologist, because she did free sessions, and you know, people they can't afford sessions, so those free places to go is perfect. And if you have something like that at your school, then you don't have the stress of going somewhere else and looking for that service. You know who you can go to, and your child, I think especially high school kids, can go to that counselor, even if, I mean, the parents will give permission, but the parents don't know what they talk to that counselor. And I think a lot of kids need that. They need that support and that guidance. Thank you. I think that's all from me.
Thank you, Abigail. I appreciate that. So Candace mentioned a question in our comments box, and I actually was going to direct that question now to Paige, who I see is struggling to connect a little bit. Or is it my connection? I'm not too sure. So I'll just direct to Dominique for now. Dominique, how important is adequate sleep?
Very, very, very important, because the thing with sleep that a lot of people don't know is that, so for example, the rest of your body, you have toxins in your body and it gets filtered out by your liver and by your kidney, and then you use the toilet and then your toxins go out and everything's fine. And if you weren't doing that, you know, you'd get infections in places. That's how you get appendicitis and those types of things. So sleep, it does that for your brain. Sleep is when your brain washes out all of the toxins that it has, and it clears it up so that you can function properly. So if you aren't getting enough sleep, you're getting a buildup of some of these toxins, and it can mess with your brain functioning. So yeah, getting enough sleep, about 6 to 8 hours, is 6 hours is the minimum, but definitely try for 8 as far as you can. And also another thing about sleep is that's when your memory goes into long-term memory. So when you're studying, once you've studied, if you try and do like an all-nighter, by the time the test comes, you'll probably forget a lot of what you spent learning through the night, because it hasn't gotten time to sink into your memory. It'll be in your short-term memory, but that Short term is the first memory that goes once you are stressed. So when you get stressed, your cortisol levels increase, and it starts to shut down parts of your brain so that you can function better, so that you aren't overwhelmed with all these things. And short-term memory is the first to go. So if you do an all-nighter and you don't go to sleep, you won't remember that much in the test anyway. So try and study, and then sleep at least 6 hours, and then you can wake up early again. But when you sleep, like I said, that's when all the information is going to sink into your long-term memory, and then you'll be able to remember it not only for the test, but for life when you need that again. Because as you know, with school, like, the information builds on each other. So once you get to the next year and you've already forgotten what you learned the year before, it's going to be more difficult to learn the work, all of it, from scratch. So yeah, sleep is very, very important. I'm a big advocate for sleeping. And one more thing. You should try your best to not do your work in your bed, because our minds work with associations. So if you are associating being productive, doing your schoolwork, doing any work in bed, your mind associates that with, oh, I need to be awake, I need to focus, this is where I do my work. So then it can be very difficult for you to go to sleep at night, because your mind still thinks, I can't sleep now, this is where we do the work. So try your best to work at a desk, or even on the couch is fine, just not in your bed, so that your mind can know that when you're in bed, it's time to rest. It's time to shut down and rest.
My goodness, I never knew that. Great. You see, this is why I'm learning so much more. Abigail, I don't know about you, but I think we're learning key things here. Not even the students and parents. I feel like we've been enlightened here. So I just want to answer a question quickly from a parent before I move over to another question. I'm so sad that Paige lost connection, because I had some good questions for her too. But Dominique, you're just going to be under the spotlight today. I apologize for that. But hey, you joined the panel. So let me just go ahead and answer this one parent quickly. Almarie. Thank you for your query. You have 14-year-old and 15-year-old. I'm not going to read out the whole query that you have, but my answer is directed to you specifically, where you're worried about the attendance. Yes, we do monitor the attendance. We actually have a form that the children fill out digitally online every day. The tutors are very much aware of who is in their classroom every day and who is not in their classroom every day. Even with 20 or so students, I know exactly who is in my lessons and who is not in my lessons. And I'm fully aware of those that exit for some reason. Maybe they join and they fill in the form and then they exit. I know exactly who those students are and when they're not in class like they're supposed to be. So we do actually notify the parents immediately. Your child has not been in class for over a week. You would know immediately as feedback. So we look forward to some more queries. If you do have some more queries about SEET Academy, please go ahead and message Melissa Davids, whose contact information is showing at the bottom there. I have another query. Insomnia is a side effect when you have anxiety. Yes, that is very, very true. I myself suffer from insomnia, and that is because my brain does not switch off at night. As exhausted as I am, I can go to bed. My brain does not switch off. I have to, unfortunately, chemically make it switch off, but that is how I cope with things. And that is prescribed by my doctor. So not something you recommend to everyone. That is why sleep is super important to prevent insomnia. Yes.
Can I just say something? So that that triangle technique that I was speaking about, and all the other grounding techniques that you use for anxiety, that can be it can be helpful to get to sleep as well, because like you said, insomnia is a side effect of anxiety. So if you can treat the anxiety, you by what you call a ripple effect, I guess, will treat the insomnia as well. And even if it's still difficult to get to sleep, doing those techniques will still get your brain to shut down, and you'll rest like that. Even if it isn't sleep, you'll still rest a bit so that at least you'll have energy for the day. And diet has a lot to do with sleeping well. Also, a balanced diet. If you don't get enough energy, enough nutrients from your diet, it can keep you sort of running on fumes the whole day, and then by the time you get to sleep, your brain feels like it's been having to keep you awake so much that it doesn't know that it can let you sleep now. So
So,
try.
sorry, Dominique. So coffee and chocolate doesn't work?
Uh,
Not balanced enough diet?
no. Well, chocolate actually has been shown to release dopamine and endorphins, so it can make you feel happy. But
Happy, but
caffeine,
not enough energy for our studying necessities.
yeah, definitely have healthy food, brain food, like they call it. So, almonds it's very good for your brain to work and to function. When I was writing my final exams for matric, I used to just have a little bowl of almonds next to me every time I was studying, and I was just eating the almonds the whole time.
Okay, so nuts. Are there any other good, I would say, study snack food? I think I would call it. It's because you don't want to be sitting there trying to do work or studying, and all you're doing is munching on chocolates and
Mm,
chips, which I think
yeah,
would
yeah,
not be the right brain food that we need.
definitely. Um, So I know that was a bit misleading. You actually should try not to snack while you are eating. I mean, while you're
Oh,
studying, yeah. Because so this is more biological than it is psychological. But when you eat, then all your energy goes to your stomach to digest your food. So then that means the energy is not in your brain, the blood. And yeah, the blood carries the oxygen, and if you don't have a lot or sufficient oxygen in an area, it can't work as well. So if you are eating while you're studying, a lot of your blood is going away from your brain to your stomach to help digest the food. So yeah, your focus will then be a little bit not optimal, I would say. And also try not to study after you've had a big meal as well, because we all know once you've had a big meal, you feel so drowsy and so sleepy. That's because all of the blood, all the energy is going to your stomach to digest. So yeah, it won't be that productive to study after eating. Rather take 20 minutes, 30 minutes to just let your food digest, and then you start studying again.
wow. Wow, who knew? Hey, Abigail, I feel like this is some key information for us forward. But yeah, it goes with that famous Afrikaans idiom, "Maag is vol, oog is toe," which is when your stomach
Exactly.
is full, your eyes want to close. That's Christmas. That I think that's what the key thing is. You know it, but you don't think about it. How much energy goes away from what you're trying to do because you're trying to replace, and it doesn't quite replace enough. You're doing the opposite, counter effect to it. Discuss with Paige, who's not here. So I might possibly ask her to do a bit of a side video for us to post on some good study techniques to cover in helping us not feel overwhelmed with anxiety or stress during the studying times for the exams. Dominique, if you could give us a good few pointers as well on what would be great techniques to know for study time to not be overwhelmed.
Okay, so like I said, with the sort of take it one day at a time situation, instead of having a whole big to-do list with everything that you need to do for the month, you only have one to-do list for the day, and you only focus on that. And also, just ticking off what you do, it can really help to motivate you to keep you feeling productive. So even with your to-do list, let's say you have an assignment deadline and you want to get started on another assignment, something like that. Those are the big things. Those are the important things. Yes, you do need to put that on your list, but put smaller things on as well. Put something like, if you are feeling a bit depressed or low energy, it can be difficult to take a shower. It can be difficult to go and brush your teeth, to get dressed. put that on your list as well. Take a shower, get dressed. And when you do it, you tick it off. And then you can see that you are ticking things off of your list. And that can help you feel motivated. It can help you feel more productive to then do the rest of the things. Because then you can see, I can do it. I can do the things that I need to do, small or big.
That is very true. And I think that is a key aspect for homeschoolers in general. One of the benefits of being homeschooled is the fact that you're at home. You
Yeah.
don't have to get up and put on that school uniform and travel early hours of the morning in winter to your school. We're homeschooled. If you're wearing pajama pants, it's great. If you're wearing your pajamas just in general, hey, go for it. You're homeschooled. But I think to keep that routine is so vitally important. Get up, go take that shower, go and get dressed, brush your teeth. You have started your day. Then sometimes we get caught in a rut if we just stay same,
Yeah.
especially in your pajamas. You just don't feel any productivity because you're staying in that mindset of lazy. Well, not necessarily lazy, but you just feel like, why?
Yeah. It ties into what, sorry,
No, go for it.
it ties into what I said about the associations. Like your brain associates pajamas with sleeping and being comfortable and being lazy. So just get yourself not even into clothing per se, just something comfortable, and it can be the same thing every day because as you said, you're at home having school. So it's not that you're gonna necessarily sweat in the clothes or anything. So just set aside again if it's difficult to get dressed in the mornings, to find clothes to wear. Choose one pair of pants that you like and one top that you like, and then a jacket that you can take off and on if it's hot or cold. And that's your day clothing. That's your clothing
Yeah.
for when you have school or work. And then you
Because
can
your
tick
brain
that off.
associates that, doesn't it? Then it associates it, that is my school going, my ready for the day clothes.
Exactly, yes.
Right. You see, you don't even have to wear a school uniform, but tracksuit pants, a hoodie even, just comfortable clothes. But I like that. Pajamas associate sleep, therefore non-productivity. That's a key side note. We're not saying everyone at Seed Academy now needs to have a school uniform and go and get dressed. It's a key thing to remember in changing our mindset every day and to allow for that productivity. Oh, that's fabulous. I love also some of the comments that the parents are posting in there, such as sleep meditation music, staying hydrated during study times. Where else did I see? There was another comment from a parent. Exercise. Exercise is a great stress reliever and helps to get a good night's sleep. But it doesn't only help with sleep, it also releases those almost like the chocolate, isn't it? Those good endorphins. Oh, Abigail, you have something you want to add there. Oh, you're on mute. I don't know what's going on there. We can't seem to hear you.
Hi, can you hear me?
There we go.
Sorry about that. I wanted to add with exercising. I try to exercise. I don't do it much. Same with my son, but he loves skateboarding, cycling. So choose something that you enjoy. Don't force yourself to do things that, I have to do this again. And so what I do is I dance around in the house with the music on, take breaks because I work from home. Take breaks in between 2 minutes or wash the dishes while you're dancing, shaking, and whatever. Do it with your kids if you work from home and you homeschool or do online school with us with Seed Academy. Just do that in between. It's awesome. It gets you hyper, it gets you excited. It takes your mind off as well from all the work that you need to do, and of course, it's the physical activity keeps you fit as well. So yeah, that's just a little tip from me.
It really does. Thank you for that, Abigail. And I like what you're saying. We're not saying go get a gym membership because that's just like the extreme. There are so many different ways. If you're someone that believes in yoga, yoga is a great way to work out. and to calm your body. It also has breathing routines that you can do, and it's really physical. Actually, you think yoga is just a bunch of poses. It actually really you'll end up sweating while doing yoga. But take a walk. I live in a complex. I go take a walk around the complex every now and then, even just to my main gate and back. It's just that release of your mindset as well. Like Abigail was saying, put on music. If you're a student and your mom and dad tell you to do a chore, put that music on and dance your way around the chore, even if it's taking the trash out. I do that. I clean my own house to music. It changes your mindset, and music gives such a good, soulful re-energizer, I feel. Even when you're down, listening to some good music. Don't listen to depressing music. Listen to some good upbeat. I don't know if a lot of you know that I'm So Happy song. Oh man, you just want to jive to that song. So definitely dancing does wonders. You don't even need to go to a gym to exercise. You can do everything from home. I think Dominique, you wanted to add something there, or you good?
No, sorry, my battery is dying, so I just need to run to get my charger. So I'm just gonna quickly put my camera off. Is that okay?
I think it's fine. We're going to get ready to start ending off. I think if we can get some solid feedback from you, Dominique, you can just go ahead and send some information through to Melissa that we can post up for our students, even if it's just study methods or these tips, like you said now, make a weekly planner, eat the right food. I think we should just go ahead and make a video and a to-do list for these kids and put it out on some good notes. And parents can use this advice too for the stressful work environment. So I just want to personally say thank you, Abigail and Dominique, for joining us in the panel today. And also thank you so much to Melissa in the background running our scenes there, as well as Paige, who was with us as a tutor. You guys are amazing. And if anyone has any questions, please go ahead and list your questions, and our support staff will answer the best we can. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. May everyone have a wonderful Saturday further. Bye from us at Seat Academy.
Bye.